there is a degree of skepticism among the general public about taking a vaccine because it is perceived that this process is being politicized in terms of emergency use authorization granted by the FDA. Would you consider requiring that the members of Operation Warp Speed, the top CDC commissioners and the FDA commissioners, all take that first vaccine that is given emergency use authorization to prove to the public that it is safe?
Certainly. I mean, in the sense of, would I, just as a person and with my values and ethics, ever agree knowingly that something is unsafe and say, no, it's safe? I can guarantee you that would never happen, and therefore I'll take it. The one thing I would want to obey to is what is the recommendation that is given to that particular vaccine, whichever one it is. As you know, we are developing a portfolio of vaccines, and one of the advantages of going after a portfolio is that some of these vaccines will have different performances. Some may be best suited for very old people, some may be best suited for younger individuals or for mature adults. And yes, I mean, I feel completely comfortable that we would not recommend a vaccine for approval unless it is safe and it is effective, and we are completely transparent about the data. An independent VRBPAC will look into that data and make recommendation to the FDA as to the approval. And let me also say one thing. While we have accelerated incredibly this development, we didn't cut any corner that was inappropriate to cut. What we have done is to go very fast because we went after platform technologies that have been described over the last 10 years that we knew and understood and could project what their performance would be. We took financial risks and operational risk. We organized the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials before we were even in the clinic, so that when we had the right information to progress from one trial to the other, we did it immediately. We went for manufacturing and invested in building the manufacturing sites, tweaking them, organizing them, hiring people, and start to manufacture before we know whether the vaccines are effective. There is one thing we did more than usual. We're running a larger phase 3 trial than usual with 30,000 subjects in it. Many vaccines are approved on trials with 8,000 or 10,000 subjects. That is going to allow us not only to achieve the efficacy events faster, that's why we have 30,000 in part, but more importantly, it will allow us to have pretty good assessment of the safety on 15, in some trials, 20,000 subjects that are actually vaccinated with the vaccine. And as I said before, the pharmacovigilance, if the vaccine is introduced and authorized, will allow us to further document the long-term safety. So I feel very comfortable.
Yeah, to your earlier point, Doctor, earlier in the month you said, I would immediately resign if there is undue interference in this process. And Science Magazine said, if you see an EUA push you don't believe in, you're out. And your response was, I'm out. How would you define undue influence?
Any asks that's made to the operation to do something that's not based on facts and data and science would be undue influence. And honestly, I haven't had any. And that's what I'm here.
Lowy, it's Meg Terrell again. You know, a lot of people, of course, know that you spent 30 years at GlaxoSmithKline, but also questions about the holdings you still have in that drug company. Many people are reaching out to me personally to say, you know, please ask Dr. Slaoui about those holdings and any sort of appearance of conflict of interest because of those holdings you still have. How do you address that? Why not just divest those shares that you still own?
So, Meg, as I said, this has been actually quite a tough learning for me. Of course, conflict of interest have to be addressed and should be investigated. The tough learning for me has been that rather than people asking me the question, that people have assumed that I'm here to make myself richer or my former company richer or my former colleagues richer, as if I was some kind of a gangster or I don't know what. For people who know me, people know that money has never been and will never be the objective in my life. It's human health, it's public health, it's impact, and that's what I'm doing. Now, my holdings in GSK are my retirement. What I proposed, and the HSS lawyers specialized in ethics, etc., have told me that's absolutely appropriate, is to say any accretion in value in GSK shares or in anything that I own that happens during my tenure in this role, things that I own that are related, of course, to the pharmaceutical field, I will divest and I will give that money to research in the NIH. And as far as Moderna, we had decided with the Moderna board that I would actually retire from the board, that I would sell my shares into Moderna prior to the announcement of my role in the operation, but we couldn't say it. Moderna is a public company. After the announcement happened, we effected board meetings over the weekend and then divested. And again, the accretion of value between the announcement and the day the sale happened, I committed to donate to cancer research, and I already gave half of those earnings to research.